Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Defining Discipline podcast. I'm your host, Scott. Defining discipline is a lifestyle, a mentality, and a brand. And within this podcast, we're going to focus on self-improvement as you follow along with me on my journey. We'll also hear from special guests of all walks of life on this podcast and their remarkable journeys that led them to where they are today. Today is day 164 of my journey. At the beginning of the year, I had challenged myself to run 365 days of the year this year, all outside, bearing the elements, whatever they may bring. I had also originally challenged myself to run 1,250 miles within that time frame, but I got ahead of schedule on miles, so I've decided to up that to 1,500 miles for the year. Now, this is only my second year ever running. Within the first full year of running in 2020, I was able to run 1,002 miles, and I did that within 175 days out of the year. So this year, the challenge of doing 365 days in a row, as well as 1,500 miles in the year, is a 50% step up in the amount of miles and a 100% step up in the amount of days I'll be out there running compared to last year. I had also challenged myself to do two big races within this year, one being a 50K trail race and one being a marathon. Well, the 50K trail race, I got finished 8 days ago. It was a great experience, guys, full of lots and lots of emotions. Got that done in 7 hours, 15 minutes, 22 seconds. Definitely wanted a better time than that, but I am not complaining. I think, I do have races I do want to do, coming up more. I probably will do another 50K as well. But I think the next big race I really want is a 50-miler. But I may do a 50K while training for that. So it was a really fun race, like I said. So maybe the next time I'll be able to get out there and really shave some time off now knowing what kind of beast it is. But I was able to get that done, and then was still able to get out there every single day after that, following that big race of big miles, and still put in mileage every single day to keep the streak going. So now we're on day 164, guys. And like I said, I do have a marathon coming up as well. So now the training has been shifted straight to focusing on that, really trying to shave some time off of my my marathon I had last year, which was an unofficial time. I would like to really close in on a 4-hour marathon. Would like to try to be able to qualify to do the Boston Marathon. That'd be awesome. So we'll see what happens. So right now, that is the focus, the next race. And then I will also be trying to signing up for another race here in 2022. Like I said, probably a bigger race, maybe another 50K as well as a 50-miler. That is going to be the next step up, I think, from the 50K, is I'm going to go for 50 miles. So day 164 out there, was able to put in a little bit more mileage than I did the past 2 days. Not too much more, but still more. So put in 4.8 miles for the day, guys, which put me at 18.3 miles for the week. So closing this week out at 18.3 miles, a little bit lower than the bottom average I like to get, which is 25. But this is the recovery week of after the big race. So I didn't expect to put too much miles in after that, but still got a good fair amount in. Now that put us at 58 miles even for the month, which put us at 718.2 miles for the year, guys. So let's talk about the month just real quick. So for the month, every single month I do a 100-mile challenge, and I do it in honor of a charity where I donate money, as well as I start a fundraiser and try to raise money and awareness for that charity throughout the month while running miles for it. So for the first 5 months, we were able to raise money for 5 great charities. Now we are sitting here in the 6th month, which is June. So for the month of June, we are raising money for the Alzheimer's Association. So that is what the June 100-mile challenge is in honor of. And that is because the month of June is Alzheimer's and brain awareness, guys. our Brain Awareness Month, guys. So we are doing Alzheimer's Association as our charity. I will be making the donation here either tonight or tomorrow officially, my donation. But if you would like to make your donation or a donation, you can find the link to do that on the Defining Discipline Instagram story, as well as the Defining Discipline Facebook story. Or you may find it on my personal page's Instagram story or my personal page's Facebook story. You just click on the top of the story where it says donate on Facebook. It'll open the Facebook link where you can make your donations. All donations that get made to this fundraiser go directly to this charity. Facebook does not take a percentage, so that's why we continue to do it through Facebook, because they have agreed to not take any percentage that we are raising for these charities, guys. Other than that, I do know times are tough, so if you are unable to make a donation, do not feel bad. But if you would still like to help out, the best thing you could do really is just click that share button, guys, because we are trying to raise awareness for it as well. That is just as important as the charity and raising money, is raising awareness for, Alzheimer's. So click that share button, and even if you do make a donation, click that share button, guys. It doesn't hurt. There's maybe people who are not aware of it will be able to be aware of it by you clicking it, and it'll be pop up, and they'll be able to see it and go and read about it and learn a little bit more about it, and maybe they'll make a donation. So just clicking that share button can help out tremendously, and tell people to share it as well. Just keep sharing it and sharing it. It doesn't hurt. So for that, let's just kind of get into today's episode. I don't want to go too much longer because it is getting late. I have work in the morning. It's going to start a new week, and going to try to get some things done this week and get really going and get moving on the future. And first and foremost, let's talk about today's episode. So episode 164 for today, the theme is going to be Literate. And I want to talk about that because at the very beginning of the year, I talked about my challenges. I just told you the, 365 days in a row, and doing the, now I'm up to 1,500 miles, and doing the podcast every day, following it to kind of talk about the mileage and then talk about it. And eventually I'm going to get guests on, and, I talk about all this stuff. But one of the challenges at the beginning of the year as well, that I just kind of not talked about it and fell off, was just reading and trying to be more literate, because that is something I'm bad at. Even just talking, I'm not very good with the English language. So sometimes I say words that I shouldn't say, like saw or seen, stuff like that. I always get stuff confused because I'm not very literate. I don't read enough. I don't focus enough. And in my head, I've always told myself, I know, I guess for my whole entire life, it was almost with anything, as long as I got to that medium average where I could just be good enough at something, and I didn't have to be great at it. I could just be good enough, and then I would just settle. So I felt that I got to the point in language where I could still communicate with people enough, and I always hated reading. So I never really tried to do that or did that, because it was something that when I would read, I would always just read, and I wouldn't really retain anything I was reading, because I would just read, and then I would read a word and then go off into my own head as I'm just reading and not really thinking about what I'm reading. And then if I really try to think about what I'm reading, it usually takes me a really long time, and it was really hard, so I never challenged myself to really get used to it and do it. And that is something that I'm talking about today, and it's something that I think I struggled with, and it really, really, really hurt me. And it's one of my biggest flaws, and it's something that I really need to work on. I fell off of it, and it's, I make enough time to run. I make enough time to do these episodes, and yes, I know I'm limited time, and I don't have much time, and there's a lot of other things I need to get time to do, but there's still a lot of wasted time within my days that isn't productive. I do run and I do these episodes, but at least I feel like these are something that is being more productive within my life than just sitting around and maybe watching TV or watching a podcast. Listening to a podcast, maybe listening to music is a little bit different, a little bit better. But when I actually watch a podcast and sit down and sit there and waste an hour or 2 hours watching two people just sit there and talk to each other, that's not good. That's wasted time. And one thing I always said, like I said at the beginning of the year, was reading. I wanted to be able to read books. I don't even know that's so long ago, and I haven't been doing it. I fell off of it. I don't even really remember what the goal was. Maybe I think it was read a book a month, or maybe it was read 10 pages a day or something. I don't know. Don't even know. I really don't. But I'm talking about it today because, like I said, this is something that I have always struggled with, and I need to really, really get better. And, the last few books I have read have been kind of more like self-help books, or, I started kind of reading about a running book, and I kind of got into that. And then even Stephen King, I was reading some Stephen King books the last few books when I really kind of got back into reading the last few years. But I fell off of it hard again, like I said. And I even got a book that I was really excited. It came out. I pre-ordered it. It got here. I started reading it a little bit and just fell off of that as well. So I really, really need to focus on being more literate, reading more. First and foremost, that's one thing I need to do, is try to read more. And then on top of that, trying to, I know slang is big now, and there's all these words, and, the English language, and being literate isn't necessarily the cool thing, or isn't necessarily always necessary in today's culture, but I still would like to be more literate within my speech as well. So I would like to be a better speaker and be able to be just more intelligent with my speaking, and not slip up on the minor things like seen and saw, like I said before, and just weird and little things that should be basics, but I don't even think about. And then I even get caught up on sometimes when I spell stuff. I don't do it enough, where when I go to spell something, I'll even mix up the I and the E stuff, and there's just weird things that I'll always forget. And, even there's just so many things that I need to really go back and touch up on English in general, and then try to really just start reading more and understanding more and trying to get better and become smarter. That is something that I talked about. And, I've been really focusing on my health and getting out there and running and that aspect. And I've been doing great with that. And the main thing is to try not to fall off that. Well, I don't plan to fall off that, but to try to add this into as well, while still focusing on the other things I need to focus on within my life. So this is about, being literate, but it's just as much about being literate. I think this is about really cutting out, the TV time, or the sitting around scrolling on the phone time. There's just so much time wasted that I really could focus on things like being more literate and reading and things like that, guys. Other than that, there is some news going on, within my life. I'm not going to share right away, but, I've just got some things going on. Excited. I've kind of been talking about it previous. It kind of ties into it, but just I'm going through so many thoughts and emotions right now, guys. Just trying to deal with everything. Got a lot of stuff weighing on me, but I'm really excited. Really, really, really excited. So the main thing I wanted to talk about today, again, was being literate. So I think I'm really going to try to challenge myself to at least read for, I said 10 pages a day or whatever. I think I'm going to really try to focus and take out 30 minutes a day. I think that actually might have been what it was to begin with. Just 30 minutes a day. Just set a timer, sit there for 30 minutes, read, and then maybe if you really try to do it maybe right before bed, because I know it always makes me tired. So set a timer right before bed to just turn everything off, bust out a book, And then if I can last longer than 30 minutes without falling asleep, maybe continue to go. If I only want to do 30 minutes that day, cut it off, but try to do a bare minimum of reading for 30 minutes a day. That is going to now be trying to be part of this challenge, and just my goal of really focusing on becoming more literate and better. So that is something I'm focusing and trying to do from here on out, on top of these other challenges and just, the other things I've been trying to become more disciplined in that we've talked about here within previous episodes. So for that, guys, let's just kind of close today's episode out, episode 164. Now, before I thank you and before we officially close it out, let's talk about your daily discipline for the day, guys. It is the same thing. It is to be more literate. One, let's all become better speakers. Let's learn to communicate better. There's such a diverse amount of words we can use that might not even have been the right word. That's why I need to become more literate. But there is such a diverse amount of words that we could use. And we usually stick to like the same ones all the time. We never really push ourselves to become better speakers or to learn more words. Something is even just a word of the day, and learning it and trying to use it all day and adding it to your repertoire. Things like that can really help. So for your daily day or your daily discipline, it is to really try to be more literate. Figure out what it is, maybe add, which is something I'm going to try to do now, actually, that I've said it. I'm going to try to do a word of the day as well as 30 minutes of reading a day to try to add a word to my repertoire to get me to become a better speaker and more knowledgeable of more words, as well as read 30 minutes a day to do kind of the same thing, but to also just kind of fuel my brain with reading. So those are the two things that are going to help me become more literate, and those are going to be your daily disciplines as well. Maybe not necessarily reading 30 minutes a day. I suggest you do, but let's see what you do. But the main thing, your daily discipline, is to be more literate, okay? Try to become a better speaker. Try to become a better communicator. And yes, read more. Maybe challenge yourself to do the same thing I'm going to be doing, like I said, of word of a day and reading for 30 minutes. Whatever the case may be, your daily discipline is just to be more literate. So thank you guys so much for listening and following along. This is episode 164. I am your host, Scott. This is the Defining Discipline podcast. If you guys can, please give us a like, a subscribe, a share, a follow on our Instagram, our Facebook, our YouTube, our TikTok, and whatever podcast streaming platform you guys have been following and listening along on. Other than that, thank you so much. I will see you guys tomorrow for episode 165. Peace out.